by law to put this sort of background information in? Or do we just rip it out and put in what we've decided on and get on with life?
Rip it out.
It's gone.
Yeah,
Well,
you can.
I'm not so sure about that, Chair.
Well, I knew I wouldn't get a full consensus, Councillor Welch. It's very hard in this room to get that. But however, make your comments, please.
Because somebody might want to refer back to it and can then access those particular documents and get the additional reading if they need it.
That's how we felt, that so much work had been done. It was a shame not to at least make reference to it. That heritage report isn't reflected a great deal through the structure plan, but it may be useful to someone in the future doing another study or wishing to have a look at it.
Councillor Down.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Welch on being a newbie at first term. I think this is most important to refer back on, and I think for anyone else, rather, because there's so much. Even looking at the 2004 Town Centre Taupo structure plan, there's so much information there and money spent on that. Just to not have that, just what we're doing now and not what's happened, in the past. I feel that should be.
Well, once again, I don't mind too much, so long as people don't get confused.
Perhaps we let's just
you
make
need to reference it. Like I told you right from this morning at about 10:05, keep it simple. Put something in the appendix, the page that's blank, to explain why these are here.
Yep.
All right, can you do that?
Yeah, we've made a note under background information to explain that.
All right, Councillor McKelwee.
Yes, but can I suggest that one of the most important things you do, and I was just going to, I'm just probably parroting what Mr. Green has just said. I agree, put it on the introduction to the appendices, but you need to make it abundantly clear that not all the information in the background information is relevant to the final structure plan. And then you've got a cover-all statement.
All right.
Thank you.
Page 84. 85. So all these maps are basically... Any comment? 86.
Can I just query, they're all dated 27th of August 2010. Aren't these repeats of things that are much earlier, some of them? It's just because they're pulled up by our staff.
The reason that date's sitting on there is because they were subsequently amended to take off the word draft. And you would have seen, we commented earlier about the solid energy sites that were added in. So when the GIS team recreated these maps for this version of the document, that was the date that they recreated it.
It's a print date, unfortunately, not a created
so that
date.
Needs to be explained on that appendices page as well, please.
All right. Anybody else going to comment? I'm on page 87 now.
That's it.
No comments now. We're going to go back to the town centre maps to clarify and reflect the wording to see if the wording that's in here. I better get up to the mic. I'll get told off. That what page was that on, Councillor McKelwee? The map.
Page 18, I think. Page 19. Page 19.
Can I just ask one thing
before
we jump ahead there? On that map on page 85,
yes,
we've got the original Crown Road. You've got the ETA going marked through there.
The white bit on Crown Road
is the old original one, isn't it?
But the new one's not shown, is it?
No, there wasn't. It simply wasn't there when the constraint was done.
Do you think?
So all the gully systems and everything that was being shown were as they were when this was done. And you can only ever be a snapshot at some point in time. Otherwise, you'd be amending every single thing you've got in the council every day. So yes, it's changed. Now there's a road through there. That may well have compromised some things, but that's done, and this is when it was done.
Okay. We're back to
Councillor McKelvey, page 18 and 19.
19.
That's the map. Now, I did say I would defer this till after we discussed all the wording to make sure that the wording reflects what's actually on this map here. Guys, Councillor McKelvey?
Yeah, if I could just kick it off with a couple of things that I mentioned before. They're perhaps two simple ones to start with. The top dark green events focused dedicated community event space, I believe should extend
Right down to
with
Riverside.
the exception of the tennis courts right down to the river.
Now, I guess you guys...
And
hang on.
taken all of Riverside Park and the amphitheatre, because that is available for events. And I'm not quite there, but the question I want to really ask is who made up that definition of that dark green? Events focused, dedicated community event space, because it's not actually community events. A lot of them are internationals.
Mr.
or national.
Gibbs, I see you frowning profusely there, sir.
Well, at the moment, all we've done is amended the plan as was in the draft to reflect the decisions, and if we can...
Are you referring to the plan on page 117 of the draft?
Same map. And if you recall, can you just find that original land development map?
Page 117, the original one, is that it?
Yeah. In the original map, we called it Events Focused Dedicated Community Event Space. So we haven't changed anything there. And if you will recall, on the original, and this is basically the structure plan's map showing what was in the draft, and what we've tried to do is amend it to show now what's in here, you will see that that darker green area was envisaging Redoubt Street going and extending to the top of the Riverside Park in a flat area. With Redoubt Street staying and being amended, and with the tennis court staying, that shape has simply changed in shape to reflect that. The reason that this plan talks about the events dedicated as being different to the amphitheatre was it was talking about the flat area we use for the sporting and other types of events, as opposed to perhaps a concert event or a ceremony or something that would use the shaped amphitheatre. Whether we show that as also being event, but not quite the same as the flat space, we could do that.
Yeah.
Councillor McKelvey, then Councillor Downard.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think the easiest way is to make the key a little more simple so that it can reflect more simply what is happening and what we propose to happen. And if Councillor Blythe was here and Mr. Warwick Hall was here, I'm sure they would tell you that they spend hours and weeks organising for the summer events in the Riverside Park. And I believe that we should perhaps just have events-focused recreational reserve, because that's what it is classified as. It makes it very simple. Events-focused recreational reserve, and you just take that right down to the edge of Riverside Park.
Are we talking about the entirety of Riverside Park,
Yes,
or
we
just the
are.
amphitheatre?
Yes, we are. The entirety of Riverside Park. Because if you go into Riverside Park in the cycle challenge, you will see that much of it is used. And in future, they will be able to use the amphitheatre for the prize giving once the active arts has moved. And they have all the bike racks and stuff right down on the other area. And I'm just trying to make it simple. I don't know whether you even need to specifically mark this area. Whether you take it out altogether might be easier, and just leave it as open space might be easier. So the whole thing which is predominantly open space without buildings on it, right through the Tongariro domain, is just left as the lighter green open space.
The reason it's been identified is you remember back to the discussion in here about the Tongariro domain and the fact that the events industry is quite an important component of the local economy, and that we talked about the desirability of having those events as part of the CBD and the desirability of improving the facilities to enable those events to take place. On that basis, I think it is quite important to show on the map where that dedicated event space is. But I guess we perceive quite a difference between the amphitheatre in Riverside Park, which is quite clearly there as a dedicated event space, versus the balance of Riverside Park, which is much more of a passive recreational open space.
And can I just add to that also, while we still have a resolution to investigate Great Lake Centre extensions for community and domain activation, we also, that map would reflect what part of the domain you're more likely to activate by that infrastructure. And that's why, and it's more likely to be that flat area, that a flat events area.
Councillor Downer?
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Gibbs. I mean, all the way through, and I'd like to make a comment that the Cycle Challenge have made it quite clear that the Riverside Park is not a place that they'd like to hold the event. And the whole idea was to extend it out across Redoubt Street and where the Active Arts was, which creates a much more bigger, flatter area. That was always going to be the events. Come the amphitheatre, sure, that has an events, but it's completely different. And it's in a bowl and it can't be seen, so it can't really connect like the domain does to the central business, and that's the whole idea. So I believe that this is plain and clear.
Councillor Vaughan?
Go back to page 11 of the original draft, which is what this new map was taken from. I've got a note here on the 14th of July saying to be redrawn according to the resolutions. This dark green splodge that we have on that original map always appeared to be a bit of an aberration that was stuck in there. I can see what it is that you were trying to achieve by that, but to many of us it appeared to be an aberration for the simple fact is that we look at that whole area as being recreational reserve and as such is dedicated to public recreation, events, one-off celebrations, whatever. That's what it's there for.
Absolutely, and in respect to its reserve status and perhaps the way it's reflected in the reserve management plan, that's absolutely correct. But in terms of looking at the town centre and how everything interacts, land use interacts in the town centre, what the structure plan is trying to say is that there is an interaction of activity on that portion which is far more commercial orientated and necessary to the vitality of the town centre than perhaps other parts of the domain which tend to be a more passive use. That's what that's trying to reflect. It's not trying to take away from the reserve status of the whole lot and how important the whole lot is as open space. That's all that's trying to. And when we first did the structure plan, remember, it was about ensuring that we would have enough space continually in that flat area. And that's why, whether it's an aberration or not, that's why that darker area was drawn in a way that sort of went around the top of the bank and showed an expanded flat area before you started to drop into the amphitheatre and the lower part of Riverside Park.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Mr. Gibbs. Doesn't mean to say that I necessarily agree with you, but that's fine.
Councillor Welsh?
That's what we're here for.
Yes, Chair. I think it would be such a radical departure from what to describe the total Riverside Park area as being totally events focused that we'd almost have to go back to the drawing boards. And I think that the idea was to keep it focused closer to the Great Lakes Centre and then we'd carry on and investigate the pavilion space.